Hi everyone, welcome back to another of our mental health minis. As always, we're looking at how sport may or may not have impacted people's mental health, what advice they can offer, and what they've seen and experienced. Today, joined by Rob Butler, BBC radio broadcaster. Welcome, Rob.
Hello, David. Thanks for asking me to do this. Pleasure to be here.
No, not a problem. Glad you could help. As always with these, we're looking to talk to public figures about their experiences, what they've seen, um, and just kind of get an idea of their experiences, as I keep saying it, and what they've come across and how they see sport has either helped positively or whether it's impacted negatively. So as I always say, Rob, over to you. Talk me through your experiences.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest right from the off, David. You know, I've been lucky with my mental health. I've never had any kind of clinical problems with it. I've never, suffered really badly with it. There's been little wobbles. There's been little things that have kind of set me off. But I can certainly empathise with people who have had it though, because obviously I've got close friends away from football. I've got close friends in football who have suffered. Some very well-known people that lots of people will know about, and no doubt people you're probably going to be talking to on this very podcast. So I can certainly empathise with the ups and downs that people go through. And in the last year or so that we've had, there's definitely been lots of testing times, and I had testing times in that time, and there were wobbles, as I said, but I'm sure we'll get onto that later. But the bottom line is that I think it's important for all of us, even if we've been, and I say this word, lucky, to not have had any direct mental health problems. I think it's important that we all stick together, we all empathise with each other, and we all understand that sometimes you don't know what's going on behind the scenes with people, and sometimes you don't know that there might be dark clouds hovering over someone that you can't see. So it's really important that we recognise that.
You're absolutely right, and one of the things we always hear when we talk about mental health is everyone's fighting their own battle. Whether that be someone just had a bad day because, I don't know, their boss has shouted at them, or whether they're experiencing grief or whatever. And it might not even be anything they even know what's going on inside them. So you're absolutely right there. I mean, obviously, from your point of view, you host radio shows. You said prior to this, you've worked at the background in TV. I can imagine as well, being a sports broadcaster, you see a lot of people having to go through this, whether it be football players experiencing it because of online abuse or because they're a dip of form, maybe. Professional wrestling as well, I know you're a big fan of it, and we've seen that have a major effect on some people in the past.
Absolutely. As I say, I've worked in the TV and radio industry for, well, nearly 15 years now. So I've done it all really, in terms of in front of the camera, behind the camera, in front of the microphone, behind the microphone. And one of my best friends in the business, if you like, and someone I've known a very long time because of this, is Darren Eady. And Darren, bless him, I love the bloke. He's a genuinely terrific, lovely man. Brilliant footballer for Norwich City, one of my heroes. And when I got to work with him back at Anglia TV when I started there, it was a dream come true. There's us driving around Milton Keynes, Northampton, all these Anglia teams, Rushden and Diamonds, hanging out, having McDonald's together on the way back, and having a great laugh. We were mates working together, and there's all the time me thinking, this is Darren Eady I'm sat next to in the car. This is my hero. But all that time, and Darren won't mind me saying this because he's spoken at length publicly about his struggles. I didn't know. I did have any idea whatsoever that he was going through mental health problems, and he kept it to himself. He didn't tell most of his friends. He didn't tell, people he worked with. This was his own struggle that was going on. And when Darren was brave enough to talk about it, I was surprised, and I was straight on the phone to him on the text, just saying to him, Darren, I wish I'd have known. I'd have done all I could to help you because you're a good friend and I've known you a long time and you're my hero. I loved you as a footballer as well. You represented our club and what have you. And he said, don't worry, mate. It was nothing personal. It was just where I was in the world. I didn't want anyone to know. I wanted to just curl up and, in a ball at home and shut everyone out, and I felt so moved by that because knowing Darren so well and knowing what an amazing bloke he is, it just upset me, and it really hit me hard at the time. But Darren, he might be someone you're going to speak to eventually, but he has talked a lot about his problems over the years. He's so brave to come out and talk about them. because unfortunately in football, lots of people see footballers as rich, well off. They don't need to worry about anything. They've got the big house, they've got the big car. Darren had a Ferrari, had a beautiful house, he had everything, but he didn't have his mental health. And you can't buy it. And I think Darren's talked about it, and I won't speak for him because he's someone who can speak for himself, but there's nothing but love from me for that man. And you look at that picture up there. I know it seems a bit weird. That's a picture of Michael J. Fox's Teen Wolf. That's what Darren Eadie gave me on my 30th birthday, and I treasure it forever. And it's a fair few years ago now. But that's the kind of guy he is. He thought of me, knew he calls me Teen Wolf because of the hairy face and what have you. And he's always called me that. And that's the kind of guy he is, that would think of me as just his mate, and to give him a picture that I still treasure. And I showed him the other day that it's there, and he said, "You still got that?" I said, "Mate, it's that from Darren Eadie. I'm not going to chuck that in the bin. It's just like signed by Darren Eadie, And Darren's a great example of someone who has worked so hard to come out of the other side. He talks a lot about the PFA doing more for football. He talks a lot about what other people and governing bodies can do for players and mental health. But I like to think Darren was one of the first, one of the first professional footballers. We've seen so many since, who came forward, put his hands up and said, hang on a minute. Yeah, I might have had a bit of money. Yeah, I've got a nice car and a nice house, but that can't buy me my mental health. And I'm so proud of him as a Norwich legend. It's just the story goes on, and I know he has to work hard every day, but that's just someone. And when I talk about empathy, that's just someone I can talk about, who's a friend of mine, who I'm really proud of for putting it out there and talking about it and bringing attention to it.
You're right. I mean, when I first got into football, Norwich would have been the 94, 95 era, and Darren Eadie, I started out as a left winger, so Darren Eadie was one of my first kind of like, I love watching him. And then over the years, obviously, I've seen this come out. But you made an important point to the fact that you were driving around with him day in, day out, and had no idea this was going on. And
right.
My whole point of these videos is not, I don't want to be involved in, I want to hear what people have got to say. But my own issues I've had, and my friends and family will know about those, I've kept them hidden. And I've had two major issues. One of them was because I didn't feel I could talk to anyone. And the other one was because I felt I was ashamed, which is absolutely ridiculous, really,
of course,
because 99% of people want to know and want to help.
Absolutely.
But there's no accounting for someone's own inner state. And sometimes you just have to either let them get on with it or find another way to help, because sometimes they don't want help at that moment because they don't even understand it themselves.
Absolutely. I mentioned earlier the wobbles I've had over the years, and in the past you just think, oh, come on, just I'm down in the dumps. That's what people used to say, didn't they, 20, 30 years ago? It wasn't seen as necessarily mental health. It was seen as just a bit down in the dumps. I'm having a bad time of it. I've had times, I don't want to go too far into it, but I've had times when, I've got some pretty nasty abuse on social media because I'm a guy putting myself out there with an opinion about football, nothing serious, football, which is, we love football, and football is more important than life, as Shank said, but come on, it's football. And I got lots of people being mean to me, saying horrible things, talking about my appearance and what have you. And my remedy for it, when I got really low about it, I didn't get as far as needing to go and see a doctor or even talking to anyone about it. I put it all I wrote it all down. I typed out a blog that I was going to put out there. I typed out a blog, and I've never said this before. I've never told anyone. I think I told Chris, because he's a close mate, and Chris, when you talk to Chris Gorham, he'll do his own little bits on this. But I told him, and I'd even bought a website address, to put it all out there. So I'd actually gone as far as getting a website that I was going to start blogging, start talking about it, start talking about the fact that I'm just a bloke doing a radio show. Don't get so worked up. Don't send me hate stuff. Don't go on the message boards and say how much you hate me, because do you know what? I don't always see it, but I've got lots of mates who are Norwich fans, and they tell me about it, and they think I should know, and I'm like, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Thankfully, it's dried up now, and I think people have just accepted that me and Chris just do this for the love of it. But I wrote this out. I wrote this blog and kind of literally laid it all out there and said, this is how I feel. Please stop being nasty because I'm just a bloke doing a job. I'm on the radio a couple of hours a week, you know, which I was back then. And it's just a job, you know. I love it. I love supporting Norwich City. I love talking about it. But at the end of the day, you know, I'm not. No one's held a gun to my head to do it. I'm just doing it because that's my job. I wrote it all out, and I've still got it saved somewhere. I never put it out there because do you know what? Writing those paragraphs, writing those words, David, it was cathartic. That I got it out there, I put it in writing, and that solved my problem for that time, you know. And I said to Chris, I've written this. Do you think I should put it out? And he said, it's up to you, mate. If you think that's going to help you. And after I've written it, I thought, I feel fine now. I've put it out. I've got it off my chest. I feel fine. I spoke to Chris about it. We'll move on. The worst thing that happens to me and Chris is, you know, we travel 400 miles to Swansea or whatever, and there and back, and you know, we get in the car and we think we've done a good show, and Chris has done a brilliant commentary as always. He's an amazing commentator. I've done Canary Call. We think we've done a good show. We sort of, where should we stop? Well, you know, should we have a burger, or should we be healthy tonight, have some sushi? What do you want? And then, you know, we'll look on Twitter, and then you get 5 people saying, oh, you were terrible today. Oh, what were you talking about, Rob? Oh, you talk rubbish. You're fat. You've got 4 eyes, whatever. You're bald, whatever. And you just think, I don't know why people I mean, honestly, I've just been on the radio. I don't get it.
I mean, I'm not saying it's right, but even if someone does think that you've got 4 eyes, I don't understand why. Well, I know. I don't understand why that affects your ability to commentate on Norwich.
Look, some people don't like you, and some people do, and we live with that. But I think what I love about the world now, and there's a lot of things not to love, but what I love about the world now is actually be kind is a great phrase, because at the end of the day, everyone's doing their own thing. Everyone's just trying to pay their mortgage, trying to feed their kids, trying to support their partners, whatever they've got to do. And actually, if someone's on the radio talking about something and you don't like it, there's an off button. There's another channel. Yeah. You can go and talk about it. Don't go to that person and tell them how much you hate them, because it's not going to help them, their mental health. It's not going to help them. You're not going to achieve anything, because you're just going to be seen as a troll. You'll probably end up getting blocked. You'll probably end up getting muted, which, you know, you wouldn't want to see my muted list, David. I tell you, there's some surprises on there that you wouldn't expect, but you're not on there. Don't worry. But yeah, I'm joking. But honestly, that's my way of doing it now. So I don't block people, I just mute them. So if you've ever abused me in the last 5 years, that's why I'll never see your tweets anymore, because I just don't need to see it. And honestly, I'm just a Norwich fan. I'm a journalist, but I'm a Norwich fan. I've worked in this industry a long time. I'm just trying to pay for this house I'm living in now and just get to retirement and hopefully move to Florida and go and watch wrestling for the rest of my life. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to upset anyone. I'm not trying to, you know, and that's kind of feeds into mental health. I said I'm lucky to have good mental health, but I think I've just demonstrated by ranting about it that probably I have had bad mental health, because some people just want to put the boot in because they're trolls, you know, and it's upsetting. I'm sure you've experienced stuff. I know other people in the Canaries Trust have, you know, and I know other Norwich fans have, because I've spoke to them about it, and it's needs to stop. It really does.
And you're right. It shouldn't be going on. I think we're in a better place than we were 10 years ago. In one sense, people, when they do have an issue, are able to talk up. I know when I've seen abuse online, I had something today that was nothing to do with this. It was an entirely different thing. I disagreed with someone, was having a conversation with someone else. Someone came in, disagreed with me, insulted me, and there were loads of people that jumped on their back. Defending me, because it's like, well, hang on, that's not fair. So that we are in a better place. Unfortunately, I still think we have a long way to go in both our ability to handle things that cause us to have mental health issues, and also resolving those, because there's kind of two sides to it. There's the cause of it, what actually causes people, whether it is something hardwired in them or whether there is a trigger. But also when something goes wrong, I think the support is out there. But I think we kind of have a thing where there's a support at the start of your journey when you've got an issue, you can go and talk to someone. There's support at the very end if God forbid someone tries something. But I think somewhere in the middle is where we're lacking it. When people get to that stage, like you mentioned, again, I don't want to keep bringing him into it because he's got his own story to tell, but Darren Eady clearly got to a point where he was beyond the start and felt he couldn't talk to someone. Now, thankfully, he's within reason fine now and cracking on, and sounds like he's handling it quite well. But clearly there was something there that felt he wasn't able to talk about it, and I think that's where people like you or I come in, where we've got friends. We should try and spot those, but it isn't always easy. And I think the point of these is to get people to talk, and just phoning someone up and saying I'm not okay, or texting someone saying not having a great day, might be enough to help. So
I think you're right, David, and you've eloquently put it. And I think with blokes as well, let's be honest, blokes don't like doing that. I'll be honest, I don't like doing it. I just said when I wrote my blog, I only spoke to Chris about it because he can empathize with me. People love Chris. I love Chris. He's an amazing broadcaster. He's the best commentator in the whole of local radio, and probably is one of the best from the national boys as well. He is incredible, brilliant commentator, but he gets the odd little bit of stick, and I kind of go, I don't know how people. I understand why I get it, because it's like I'm a big gob and I'm here trying to be different and trying to get some, get people talking and phone-ins and all that. Of course, I'm not playing a character, I'm just being myself. But then when you see someone like Chris get, you think these are just literally people who are just trolls, and again, Chris will speak for himself, but these are the conversations that we have when we're on our way back from away games, and we find it quite hard to talk to each other about it, and we're close friends. We find it hard to kind of go, oh, I'm a bit upset about this, and oh, I don't really like that, or whatever. So when with your other friends and your family and what have you, it's so hard, and that's a thing that's typical and particular to blokes. We hate talking about stuff. We hate sort of saying to each other, oh, I don't feel to. You just want to be, oh, lads, we're all right, lads. Yeah, we're fine. Can't get the pints in, whatever. Lads. That's what we're like. And that has got to change. And I think people like Darren Eadie and lots of other brave footballers who've come forward have rationalised it and made it okay to not be okay, which is a buzz phrase, but it's true. So, don't be afraid to talk to someone. Don't be afraid if you're a Norwich fan and you've been on Canary Call and you think someone's giving you jip on the message board. Message me, tell me. I'll support you in it, because the BBC support me. They will do everything to protect me, and I will do the same for our guests and Norwich fans. Look, any Norwich fan, we're all part of a family. We're all friends together, so we all support each other. And that's how it should be. We don't all get on, we don't all agree, but you know what? At the end of the day, we're a family, we're a community, and that's what it's all about. And the fact that football's brought us all together, so many different colours, so many different races, creeds, whatever, anything, all those people brought together, it's what it's all about.
I don't want to mention too much about it because it's been done so much, but obviously I think one thing you're right about, the football has brought us together, is especially with this European Super League. Let's forget the politics and the stuff behind it. The unity that the fans showed of, like, you had Rangers and Celtic fans agreeing, you had City and United fans, Norwich and Ipswich fans, you had rival fans together on it. And I think before we close, because I always want to keep these short, as I keep saying on everyone. But one thing I think, I appreciate you coming on, Rob, and talking about what you have done. You said at the very start that you're very lucky to not have really experienced anything. But I think what you have shown is, if you don't mind me saying, that there are things that still affect you.
Absolutely.
So there are people like Darren, and there are people like myself and hundreds of thousands of others that have real serious issues, and they need help. But I think it also shows that the people that think they're doing fine also can have these, as you call them, quite rightly, little wobbles, and also need to be able to talk about it as well.
Yeah, mental health is my biggest thing, and this is the thing we'll leave it on. Mental health is not just bad. There's good mental health. You have good mental health. You feel good today. You feel bad today. Mental health's like physical health. Sometimes you feel a bit off. Sometimes you feel great. So there's not just bad mental health. There's good mental health. There's middle mental health. There's slightly bad mental health. There's slightly above average mental health. Your mental state fluctuates from day to day. We saw it, and you mentioned the wrestling stuff that I do. We did a documentary on BBC Three, still available on iPlayer if you want to watch it, called Step Into the Ring. And quite a large amount of those people in that documentary have mental health problems. You've got Marcus, who I've just met for lunch, by the way. Marvel Marcus, he's autistic. He's proud to be autistic. He's proud to prove people wrong. Every day he has mental health struggles. He has mental health struggles with his anger, with showing his emotions. You know, you've got Pocket, who's in the show as well, you know, a brilliant female wrestler who has had terrible trouble. She's got PTSD. She's had terrible trouble with her mental health. You've got Zach and Roy, his brother as well, the hooligans. You know, the hooligans, oh, they're great. They love drinking beer and running around the ring. Both of them have severe mental health problems, you know, and you wouldn't know it if you met Roy. He's one of my best friends. You know, you wouldn't know it if you met Roy. And Zach, another one of my close friends. You know, you wouldn't know it if you met them. But Zach was in a really dark place. He talks about it. And these are big, strong, muscular men who are men, you know, running around the ring, knocking people out and stuff like that. They've been delicate flowers when it comes to their mental health. And you just don't know. And that's the big takeaway. You just don't know. But there isn't two sets of people. There's not people who have bad mental health and the rest. Everyone has mental health. It's like a pint glass, half full, half empty, whichever way you look at it. And I will have times when I feel, yeah, my pint glass isn't too full today. And I'll have days when I feel like it is. I'm sure it's the same for you. But if you have or haven't been clinically, you know, regarded as having mental health issues, it doesn't mean you don't need to think about your mental health. And it doesn't mean you shouldn't be thinking about your friends, families, even work colleagues or people you just meet in the street. That doesn't mean you shouldn't be thinking about them as well. Because I think the big thing about the last couple of years is we've realized everyone's mental health is important and everyone has a right to put their hand up and go, I'm struggling. I need some help. I need someone to help me. I need someone to talk to. I need someone to get me out of this hole. So what you're doing, David, and what the Canaries Trust are doing is incredible. I applaud you. And the fact that we can wrap it around Norwich City is even better because that's what we all love. That's the one thing we can all agree on. We love our football club. And I love the fact that you've done this. And I know you've got some brilliant other guests lined up as well. And it's been a pleasure. I think it's been great to talk to you, and you know, nice to just kind of air a bit of what you're feeling.
It's hugely appreciated, your feedback, but more importantly, it's fantastic that you've come on and opened up. I suppose one final bit. Have you got any advice for anyone that may be struggling?
Don't discount your mental health. Don't think that, like me, and I'm guilty of this, I'm all right. I'm fine. I'm all right. That doesn't affect me. Some bloke calling me fat, I don't care. It doesn't matter. I mean, you know, I'm not fat, by the way. Now I've lost weight, but do you know what I mean? It's like, these are the kind of things that make people go, I need to get to the gym because people keep calling me fatty, or people keep, you know, doing this. I need to get my eyes lasered because people keep going on about glasses. These little things that you think are just banter. Yeah, just call Rob Butler fat. It doesn't matter. It gets people. It really does. I'm lucky. I don't throw my toys out of the pram. I just kind of laugh away with it. But every little thing you do has an effect. Every little thing you say has an effect. And David, Darren Eady, you know, we've spoken about him, the legends. There's lots of other people you're going to talk to who are going to talk about their mental health situations. Just think about those people, but think about the other people who haven't gone on record and been brave enough to talk about it. Everything you say, whether it be on social media, in person, in the street, everything you say to people, when you think it might be banter or you think it might just be, I'm just going to be horrible to that person, it affects them. They go home, they turn the light off, they shut their eyes and go to sleep, and it's on their mind. So please, please, please just be kinder. Please just be kinder to each other because life is way too short. And at the end of the day, we're only talking about football. This is football. This isn't life and death. This isn't, you know, the terrible things that we've seen over the last year. It's just football, and we should all enjoy it and pull together on it. But please just be aware of those little things you do because it does affect people. That's all I'll say.
Rob, thank you so much for your time today. It's been an honor talking to you, and I appreciate you opening up.
No problem, David, and thank you. And carry on the great work with Canaries Trust. It's brilliant.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. All right.